hello, and welcome to Watch What Crappens Crappy Hour. I'm Ronnie. Right there's Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hi, how are you? How's it going?
Good. What's going on this evening?
What's not going on? This is like the biggest crappy hour of like the past 6 months. There's so much happening. There's so many headlines, so many things to talk about. And we also have a guest tonight. It's just like, it's all happening.
Yes, we have a lot to talk about. Our guest tonight is hot, so prepare yourselves.
You always like that.
He's also an extremely funny and talented writer. He wrote the book The Emperor and the Endless Palace, and his new book Lucky Seed comes out on November 11th. Please welcome author and hottie Justinian Huang. Justinian.
Oh my gosh.
Hi, Justinian.
This is so surreal. You know, I've been listening to you two since Housewives Hoedown. Like, I'm like, yes,
Really?
yes, you have been my paranormal Bravo sisters for like
Paranormal?
parasocial. Okay, yeah.
Noting. We have been making cabinets open and close in his house for all this time.
Oh, it's you guys. I see. I actually do have a ghost in my house, but that's a different podcast. But yeah, I've been, I remember you had a third person who was like the fact guy. I remember.
Yes.
And then
Matt.
he was, yes, Matt. That's right. And then,
The fact guy, did you call him?
Yeah, the fact guy. He was always the person with the
That's
fact.
funny.
You two have always been the funny ones. You two have always been the impersonators. But you've been making me laugh like on a weekly basis for 15 years, I've never had a boyfriend. So you guys are like my funny boyfriends, I think.
Oh my God.
I never have a boyfriend either. It's good to meet another one of me in the wilds.
I know, right? And when I was living in China for 5 years, you two and Wendy Williams were like my connection to America. So
Wow.
it means a lot for me to be here. I've been able to do a lot of fun stuff since becoming an author. Like I've gone to Bangkok and met a lot of interesting people, but this is like the giddy full circle moment for me. I'm really appreciative to be here.
Right before we started the show, Justinian was like, oh yeah, well, I was in Norway and I was on this boat with a bunch of billionaires, and we were like, wait, hold on, we have to start the show. So we didn't even get the end. So
That's the thing about being like, it's so funny. So few things have a sheen on them anymore, but being a published author, people just tend to be like, ooh, that's still something that's still fancy for some reason, when really it's not, it's
even reading is considered fancy because people don't really read as much. So when I'm like, oh, I'm in the middle of this book and it's so good, they're like, oh, really, Ronnie? And meanwhile, It's like the dumbest piece of trash book that I'm reading. It's absolute brain rot,
I just want to say that being a podcaster, we are treated very fancy. Like for instance, sometimes we'll get free stickers.
Don't be humble. Like I said, y'all were, when I was listening to y'all back when we were both at LA Fitness together, Ben.
Yes.
I like you guys were like, you were hustling, and now you guys are bigger than ABBA. I'm so proud.
ABBA, right?
So maybe ABBA tribute, but still, you're like filling stadiums. I'm very, very proud. Yes.
Now, Justinian, you say you have a story about how we first met, because my first thought was we ran into each other at LA Fitness, and you're like, no, it's before then. And then I was like, wait a second, there was an app that we talked on. Tell us the story.
But first of all, that LA Fitness was also the one where Sandoval, Jax worked out there. Sandoval worked out there. Kristen worked out there. I'll never forget.
Katie.
Yes, Sandoval and Kristen would always stand at the front entrance and just wait for someone to recognize them. It was so cute. But okay, so Ben, we met pretty much. Sad.
I mean, depending on how you look at it.
I mean, it's
so
LA,
cute.
what is sad?
Yeah.
Ben, you and I matched on Tinder, I think literally the first week it was out. Like, we were like the early adopters of Tinder. And the reason why this story is relevant is because it's Miami week. And we had a lovely conversation where we were talking about Bravo, and then you ghosted me after I said something.
Really?
Yes, you asked me who my favorite housewife was, and I said Adriana Demora, and then you stopped talking.
I just ghosted you. Really? That's crazy.
For Adriana, we actually like her. Well, what season was that?
I was worried that you were going to say
maybe that was the season she turned on Leah Black or something.
No, I would never.
No, it wasn't.
That. I would never say that.
I was hoping the story would be that you said Larsa Pippen, and I could be like, well, sorry, I have taste, but like Adriana, that's not really ghost worthy. I don't know why I ghosted you.
I think it's because y'all were. I think you still are, but y'all were like besties with Leah, right? And then like they were going through a really rough time, and it was. Like,
we love Leah, but we still always liked Adriana. I mean, listen, it's boxing, so you can like one boxer, but you still got to like the other ones. I mean, that chick's always been hilarious.
Why don't y'all think they've promoted her to a full-time housewife? Like, why do they just keep her in the wings like that? Is this some sort of like to keep her
I think it's actually because I think that like she doesn't have enough, or she's not interesting enough on her own. And I think that there's some people who actually perform really well in like a mitigated role. I actually thought that Vicky, for instance, and think that Vicky has worked really well as a friend of, as opposed to a full-fledged housewife. And then there have been a few others that have like been downgraded in a really strong way. So I feel like Adriana coming in as this agent of chaos is really good because she can be chaotic and then she can go away and we don't have to pretend like we actually care about what's going on in her personal life.
That's fair.
You know?
That is fair.
Yeah. Listen, we've already got a lady with a fucking goat. And Martina, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, how can you compete?
That's so true.
Oh
my gosh.
Yeah, but I think it's to keep her thirsty. Candy in the comments said to keep her thirsty, and I think that's true. Like her, because her and Marisol too. Marisol's kept there, and then look at all the shit they stir up to try and get more camera time to make sure they get those episode orders. So, yeah, you got to keep them on their toes, y'all.
The boat ride in Mexico was like. It was like it met Scary Island proportions. It was just the funniest thing. I'm so excited for this season. Oh my god!
I know. I feel like not
been in such a dearth, haven't we? There has been no housewives.
There's been Atlanta has been
yes,
on,
sure.
which has been fine. Yeah. It's been doing, I feel like the season started stronger than it is now, but it's still like it's like a perfectly fine season. But I know what you're saying normally we have 3 of them on at the same time. Yeah. Maybe this would be a good time to talk about all the stuff that's happening in the Real Housewives universe because shit's going down on multiple shows. People are leaving, people are coming, and it's a wild situation.
They're going and they're coming and going and going and coming, but always too soon. Little Blazing Saddles there for any dads in the audience, any dad jokes out there. Yeah, a lot has been going on. One thing I read today, I didn't put it in the document, but just speaking of Miami, I think Todd's daughter is like, she came out with something that was like, that show is fake and everything's fake and stupid. I was like, shut up, Todd's daughter. Okay, no one needs to hear from you. And we know this shit is fake and we like it anyway. This show struggles enough without your stupid ass on it. You go back to your room. Go to your room.
Excuse me, I would like to issue a formal apology for my daughter. She's a lovely woman. It was not up to her to say those things. Everything here is absolutely authentic, and I apologize on behalf of me and the Todd family. Thank you very much.
I will now put down my paper. Okay, so a lot of what's been going on has been hirings and firings, a lot of and pretend quittings. Today, Brynn Whitfield, which I've got this on my phone, so I've got to pull it up so I could read her statement. Yeah. Brynn Whitfield claims that she quit The Real Housewives of New York City, but earlier this week she was on, I think, the Page Six Boys show, Virtual Reality. And she was talking about how she was supposed to be on Love Hotel, but she just couldn't take it after New York because she was so traumatized by the season. You were the traumatizer. What are you talking about? So she couldn't go on that because she was too traumatized. And so they replaced her with Giselle, which we kind of already knew, but in case anybody didn't. So then it seems like she's going to be going back to the show. But then today I'm trying to turn this up so I can read it because my ass is 90 years old. He's turn over. Hold on. Do I have it unlocked? Oh, yeah. I already had it unlocked. Okay. Making it big. Oh, geez. That's real big. Okay. It's really long. Okay.
You should be narrating this in Brynn voice.
That's like big.
A little life update. After a lot of thought, I made the decision to walk away from reality TV. For now, winky face. Last week, Hoppy, the dating app I co-founded and proudly serve as chief marketing officer, hit a massive download milestone. I can't even put into words how surreal it feels. All I want to do now is pour every ounce of energy into building Hoppy into the #1 dating app in the world.
I love that her dating app is named after Bethany's ex.
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't that?
That's a crash and burn sign.
I know, that's terrifying.
Cheetah brand.
Oh my God. I've been
literally a cheetah brand.
I've been rewatching old Roni episodes just to like commemorate the non-cancellation of new Roni. We had it so good. We had it even this season with Cindy Barshop. We had it so good. You guys.
Oh, that was an amazing season. The Vajassler.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a good season. We don't appreciate what we have until it's gone.
I think a better rephrasing of that is even the season with Barbara, or actually, let me update that again.
Right.
Even the season with Elise.
Barbara was good. She's like, I'm bisexual. I'm a builder. Bisexual builder, Barbara.
Toolkits, and I'm running for mayor.
Yeah, remember when she ran for mayor and she was like, these liberal idiots ruining the streets. It's like, oh, God. So Bryn has a big, long one. I won't read the whole thing, but I did like this part. And check out my podcast and prepare to laugh, cry, and possibly poop when you read my book coming out later this year. And she's splitting her time between London and NYC offices. Hoppy, guys. She's very busy. As Sheryl Sandberg said, if you're offered a great seat on a rocket ship, don't ask what seat, just get on. So here we go. Rocket ship emojis.
What if that rocket ship destroys like Western civilization?
That's why they were rumored
Thanks,
she was on Ladies of London. Oh, I get it now because I was hearing people say that she might be on Ladies of London. Oh, because she's working part-time.
I don't think that Bravo wants to deal with Bryn. Bryn was like very detested. And honestly, like everything that happened at the end of the Roni season where she was really setting Uba up, she was really weaponizing, her sexual assault in a way that was like really gross to a lot of people. I don't think Bravo wants to mess with that. And I don't think they want to mess with her. I think they see her as a liability. And for her to be like, I decided to quit Roni. I'm like, at best you were fired, but also like, you were all fired. Why are you acting like you quit? They just they basically put the show on ice and you're acting like you quit. I'm like, you weren't asked back. None of you were.
I get it. Obviously Hoppy paid for that article, like that's
Hoppy.
What it was.
I'm sure. But I love that she quoted Cheryl. I love that she quoted Sheryl Sandberg, American technology executive of Meta platforms. She's like, see, I have an app, so I'm quoting someone from Meta.
Wasn't Sheryl Sandberg ultimately, I could be wrong about this, I would love to hear what people have to say, but wasn't it like Sheryl Sandberg, originally people were like, yes, we love Sheryl Sandberg, lean in, all that. And then nowadays, like her advice, her sort of girl boss advice has actually been viewed as more toxic. I could be wrong. Please let me know in the comments.
I don't think she's toxic. Look, I don't know a lot about her, but I know that she believes in creating a bottom-up culture. And listen, it's about time bottoms took over.
I agree.
Those poor things. They've gone through a lot. Give them the reins for a while. Can it get worse?
Goodbye, Bryn.
Really?
Goodbye, Bryn.
Thanks for bringing back to Pride Month, Ronnie. I love that.
Yes.
So Bryn is out, but we have some people coming back to Beverly Hills or coming back to Bravo. First, the big thing that people were talking about over the weekend was that Rachel Zoe Bananas coming back to Bravo. Yes. I think I don't know if this is great for Beverly Hills, but I think it's great for Watch Our Crappens. I'm excited for us. I don't know if it's really going to help the show. I feel like I can't imagine her getting into drama. I just see her being on the sidelines being like, this is like bananas. Like literally I die right now.
Can I make a case for her? Even though I also am. I'm just trying to be optimistic, but
we love that. We don't do that often, so bring it
on. My thing about Rachel was that she was in some pretty iconic feuds. Like, do you remember when she was in a huge feud with Paris Hilton's friend on Simple Rachel? Oh no, the Paris Hilton, the Simple Life.
Oh, Richie?
Nicole Richie. She and Nicole Richie were like in an epic feud that went on for months. I remember because she was her designer, and then like I don't know.
Oh,
yeah. So I feel like they're Rachel Zoe. I think she does have like a bitch flower that can bloom.
Yes, love that.
I'm sure we'll first get like a very manufactured. Is she still with Roger with a D?
No, they broke up last year.
Oh no,
they got divorced.
It was the extra vowel. She couldn't take it. But people are pointing out that her designer, Joey Maloof, her makeup artist, Joey Maloof, also had beef, or also caused beef already on Beverly Hills between Sutton and Rinna. Remember that whole thing? Where that's where let the mouse go. Let the mouse go. That was Joey Maloof. He was the mouse.
Yeah. He was the mouse. And don't forget that Rachel Zoe was part of one of the original controversies of the 2000s of tabloid times with Lindsay Lohan.
Exactly. So she has had some pretty epic feuds. Obviously this season, it's going to be one of the seasons where there's a specter of a former housewife, which is obviously going to be Garcelle, and everyone's just going to turn on Sutton being like, you're such a terrible friend to Garcelle. I feel like this is going to be sad.
I mean, the people will be.
The people will be. I think the housewives will be too. Even though I don't think they liked Garcelle, but
oh no,
I don't think the housewives are going to care about Sutton.
So?
In terms of like Sutton's stance on Garcelle. I think that Sutton is now going to be definitely out to dry. And on top of that, Teddy Mellencamp is coming back to.
Well, it's rumored. Yeah, it's rumored that she's coming back. I can't believe they're doing that. You can't give us one Rachel and then cancel it out with the Teddy. Like, I'm sorry, Teddy's going through medical stuff, and I wish her nothing for the best on that. But please do it off of my TV. Heal off of my television.
She's going through medical stuff. She should stay home and rest. Seriously, this is very serious. I mean, she was never great. Do you remember when she tried to take down Vanderpump and it was just so painful to watch?
Wait, that happened? I don't remember that at all.
Are you trying to trigger me? Are you trying to trigger me?
Oh my God, one of the worst seasons ever of ever.
Yeah, but the rumor is Kyle finally won and got Teddy back. And so now we're going to have all of the final five, or the Fox Force.
Here's the thing. If Teddy were not like super close with Kyle the way she is, she might actually be a good addition, because Teddy has really kind of leaned into a like, I don't care anymore. She's got a lot of Tamara now rubbed off on her, and she sort of says it like it is. Honestly, when we went on to their show, like I thought she was very funny, and she was like, I did like how she sort of like gave shit to people, but it's like, it's all going to be in service of defending Kyle all over again. And that's going to be really unpleasant to go through.
That, it's so, I dislike Kyle as much as you do, Ronnie, but like, she's also my Capricorn sister. I'm a Capricorn. I totally get why she is the way she is. We Capricorns are like manipulative and Machiavellian, and we're like petty and we're gaslighters. This is the worst version of myself. So I used to really hate on her until I realized if I was on a reality show, I would be like that. But at the same time, the problem is that like Capricorns are too emotionally constipated for you to build an entire cast around them, which is why I think Real Houses of Beverly Hills has not been as interesting as its heyday.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's still riveting, isn't it? It's still riveting.
Listen, my Kyle hatred, like I used to like Kyle. I thought she was really funny. I think fame makes a lot of them just cuckoo, and she's too sensitive. And I've shared my feelings a million times. I don't need to do it. It's not like a real hate. It's just like a stop fucking crying and being a victim. That just makes me crazy. But everything else is fine. And she, like this season, she made me laugh a lot. It's just whenever it comes back to anything on her, it's like, you can't do this. Yeah. She literally was like, you can't do this to the LGBTQ, like the LGBTQ plus community. You're not allowed to question people's sexuality. I'm like, well, you are when you're banging a country star on TV. Like, you don't get to make up the rules. You just fucking got here.
I think the thing with Kyle that's so frustrating is that like when she's being real, she's actually like very compelling, I think. And remember the first season, she was real, and maybe the second season too, but eventually she sort of just like went into fakery to protect herself. I understand that as a human instinct, but I don't love it as a reality star instinct. And
stop building the cast around her. Simply,
I agree.
Don't give her Teddy. It was decent this year because more and more people had been chipped away from Kyle, and so she had a lot of crying moments. That's what I mean.
I think what was so sad was watching how like Sutton has always been kind of someone who's liked Kyle, but has the Sutton and Garcelle alliance, and anyone who was previously in their alliance, like Crystal, they always sort of saw the like what bullshit Kyle was. Like they saw through the bullshit, and you sort of felt like, given the right tools, they were ready to just take her down and take over the show. And seeing Sutton ultimately sort of capitulate to just her need to be part of like the cool girls at the expense of Garcelle was actually such a sad moment. She's got Jennifer Tilly to help her out, but like it's gonna be hard. My hope is just that Dorit continues to be mad at Kyle, and then Dorit and Bose can sort of start a like a rebel alliance. But I am very concerned that Kyle, Erica, and Teddy are gonna be too much and gonna drag it into the doldrums of like the post Vanderpump seasons there that were, there's like post Vanderpump pre Sutton moment that was like really kind of dull.
Yes.
Well, guess what is not news? Kyle Richards sex. Okay. So
it's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
other headlines is that, wait, what are they? I was just going to,
other
Monique Samuels, thank you. I got blocked on my own miseducation. What's her buns? Monique Samuels returning to Potomac as a friend of. Why only a friend? I need some full-time Monique. I don't need to see Monique at a couple of parties. I need Monique.
I don't know if I need full-time Monique. I actually don't feel like full-time Monique was always that interesting. And especially, I don't know, she was okay. I think this will be good. People were ragging on Giselle on Twitter because they were like, Giselle was so proud to get rid of Mia only to have Monique come back into her life. And I was like, that is kind of a hilarious
They never let you just win on this show, you know? It's like you kill all the zombies and then you're like, we're fine. We got all the zombies. Now we can move past that wall. And then you get past the wall and there's 5 times as many zombies. You never win. Watch The Walking Dead.
So I guess this also means that Candace is not necessarily coming back, because there were rumors that Candace was coming back. And then she had that thing where she was like, I'm at NBCU taking a picture. So everyone's like, Candace is coming back. But maybe, is she still, I'm assuming she's not coming back. If Monique is,
if you could only choose one, if you were in charge, would you want Candace or Monique?
Unpopular opinion, but I would take Monique. Candace was too much for me.
I actually think I would take Candace over Monique, believe it or not.
Tiebreaker situation. This is
what would you pick?
I would choose Monique only because it's been a second since we've seen her. And by the way, I have a theory about why she's only a friend of. I think it's because she crossed over and went to another network, and they tend to be a little bit like, oh, we're gonna,
they're gonna make her earn it now.
Humble pie. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and she's also divorced now. I think people keep forgetting that, like, she's divorced, and in fact, Chris was like romantically linked with someone really random, but like, I forget who it was. I need to look it up. But yeah, she may not have any. I don't know what her financial status is either, and Bravo does not like poor unless it's gonna be Monica Garcia.
Not anymore. So, I mean, they threw those rules out the window. We've got Britt Eady on Atlanta, and she's not poor for long after she sues for $20 million.
We have to get into this. This is the big. This is the big
one for sure. This is the big one.
This is the big one. It's the big one. It's the big one. Are we ready for the Britt Eady Real Housewives of Atlanta segment? Because it's starting up right now.
Oh my God.
So it started with Britt coming on with this big long post about not going to the reunion. I'm not going to the reunion. I've been traumatized. So this big long post. Please stop writing such long posts on your Instagram. My eyes are bad. All of you. Britt.
It was just a narrow font.
Just everybody with it. Bronwyn from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Stop with the shit. You need to put it in 3 lines that are like 15 font. Okay. Because I can't be enlarging your shit and taking off the lock on my phone just to reorient everything so I can read your 20-page post. Okay. But she had one of those. But basically, she's out of there. She's not going to go because she's been traumatized by the season. The show has done nothing but traumatize her. And she looks forward to, I don't know how she worded it. What did I say earlier?
I will tell you. I have it up. So she says, well, there's a few things that she says in this post. She's like, not only is she not going to the reunion, she's like,
the events in this season have devastated me. And while I cannot say much right now because State Farm has me under embargo, I do want to set the record straight about one thing. The graphic sexual photo surrounding the events in episode 5, that photo was not me. However, as the episode makes clear, I did not see the photo at the time, rather was made aware of the photo being presented at the event, and based on what I was told, assumed that it was somehow a photo of me, which is why I reacted the way I did.
By the way, this is bad case you're making.
I do not know who was in the photo, but upon seeing it for the first time recently, I now know it was not me. I look forward to seeking accountability and moving past this dark part of my life.
Okay. So she says moving forward with seeking accountability. So I was like, she's going to sue. And then the next day she's like, and I'm suing for $20 million.
Yeah.
I'm so confused about this because, okay, let's say that picture wasn't her. Let's just believe that picture wasn't her. It was just somebody else. So she never saw the picture. How come? They're saying production didn't show her. I mean, this is just all online speculation now. Some people are saying, well, production didn't show her. They refused to show her the pictures. Why would they refuse to show her the pictures? And then she said on the show, she's like, well, I do have pictures floating around out there, but how would she get them? And then she said she had cam stuff. So how is it defamation if somebody just said that there's dirty photos of you? I don't understand. I need to explain.
What is the defamation? What is the defamation? That's what I don't understand.
Is it defamation if somebody says, I have nude photos of you and I showed them, but then they didn't really show them?
And she believed that they were her, so there must be something out. It's not like they're accusing her of, you know, being in adult media and it's never happened, because she believed that those pictures were her, right? So
she said they were out there.
I think it's purposely convoluted. I actually think she's working with a pretty smart lawyer, because she just wants a quick payday. She just wants to be paid and she can leave. And the amount they're going to pay her is going to be many times more than she would have made, had she stayed on the show for a long time. She knows the audience doesn't like her, so she was like, this is my best way to cash out of this situation. As a Bravo watcher, I'm sad the way it's panned out. I'd rather have everything happen on camera. Why didn't they have her? Why didn't they invite her and also have, I'm having a blank, the person who showed her photos? Kenya. Why did they not invite Kenya to the reunion? And why didn't they chain Brit to a sofa and make her stay there and we get that confrontation? Where was that?
Because they put themselves, by airing it in the first place, by airing that whole thing, they put themselves in this situation where they can't bring Kenya back because they're like, we're punishing Kenya. So they can't bring Kenya back because they put themselves, all they had to do was cut that episode. Like, they never needed to show, if it was this bad that everybody needs to get fired, why are you showing it in the first place? You know? And then it turns out that was really all they had for the season, so that's why they showed it. But then there was another scene, as somebody just brought this up in comments, that on the show she was insinuating that those were pictures from when she was a teenager. So she's insinuating that that was child porn, basically, that Kenya put out there. Wow. So
unless she was 19. 18 or 19 is okay.
Well, that's true. That's true. But she's kind of making people think this could have been like an underage situation. So Bravo, by airing that in the first place, they're idiots. I mean, they're going to have to pay something.
I don't know. I think that I'm not a lawyer, but I think the moment that she makes a public declaration that she was not in those photos, I think she probably undermined a huge amount of her case. Right.
That's
because
yeah,
I'm not, again, not as a legal expert, but by even just saying that, I mean, I guarantee she will go back on it. And she's like, I said that because I was embarrassed, because I didn't want people to think it was me, but it was me in the photo. But I think that she is going to be unreliable, because it's like, you're being defamed, but like, I don't know. I don't see where the defamation is beyond the typical sort of like rumors and whatever that happen on these shows. And like, I think as a public figure, my understanding is that like, in order for a defamation case to win a defamation case, you sort of have to go like, there's much higher standards for someone who is public.
As a Bravo watcher, I'm sad the way this is panned out. I think it's a big mess. I think that there's been way too many lawsuits. I think that Bravo Legal needs to be freaking restructured. What the hell? What's going on with the handling over there? Why are there endless lawsuits going on?
Well, one thing I'm noticing too is that they're not settling these lawsuits. So Brit could have a longer fight than she thinks, because they're not just handing out money over there. Yeah. They're like, nope, we're not giving you shit. Okay, we will fight you. I mean, it's taking years, and Leah's is going crazy too. Leah's is like, you didn't let me go to an AA meeting and you didn't support my disability, which is alcoholism. I'm like, what? Come on now. So she's going crazy for years and is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and they're still not settling. So,
but I mean, part of also the issue is that these shows, they do kind of, they cast lunatics. sorry, a lot of them are lunatics, and a lot of them have narcissistic tendencies, or at least are very self-involved. And you just see already on this season that Brit, she turns everything into a crime against her. And I'm not saying that therefore she should be okay with if her photos were bandied about on a poster, when she was nude. That we all agree that if those were her photos, that it's horrifying and it's embarrassing. But if it's someone else, I understand also if she was led to believe that, and then she's mortified, but then it turns out it's not even her. I'm kind of we're talking about what's wrong with Bravo legal. I'm part of it unfortunately comes down to the casting, that you sort of are on this razor's edge of you want to cast someone who's just off kilter enough to make good TV, but it can blow up in your face, because these are people who when things don't work out the way they want, they will turn it into something. And so you saw that happen with Leah, and now you see it happening with Brit. Brit's wildly unpopular. She probably got fired from the show, and she fell out with all her cast. And is anyone really surprised that she would do this and she would sue Bravo as one final swan song? No, of course not.
I had high hopes for Brit. I don't know, just something aesthetically about her. For me as a gay man, she just is just there's something so camp about her that I just really loved. The way she turns at her side. I was oh, she has a face card. I was really, really excited about her. I love Kelly. I think Kelly is so cute. I think we got 1 out of 2 of these 2 new friends, right?
We got 2 out of 3 because Angela is
of
excellent.
Course. How can I forget Angela? Yes, totally. I love her. I'm worried about her marriage, but I love her. I thought it was iconic that she was filming the girls from the upstairs, and
yes,
I think yes, but. I think it's a good transitional season. I have high hopes.
I agree too. I actually agree too. I think it's for a transitional season, it's very strong. I think Kelly has some upside, but she does not fulfill the promise of what she seemed like she would be at the top of the season. She went from being someone who's a bit of an instigator to just someone who's a cheerleader, and that's not quite as fun for me.
It's giving me the Roni transitional vibes. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Or even Aviva Brit is Aviva, right? Oh, in New Jersey, right? There were a couple that would fall off, but then the cast would start gelling. I have really high hopes.
Brit's
there was Aviva, Heather, Carol. I mean, that one people bitched when that happened because they axed half the cast.
Jarring.
But I mean, still looking back, that was a great season.
It was
spectacular.
I think maybe a good comparison might be New Jersey coming out of the Teresa doldrums of around season 5. This is a little bit Brit's kind of in that Siggy Flicker role, although I would argue that Siggy Flicker was way more entertaining before she lost the thread. But I agree. I think it's a good transition. I think that Brit is this is just her big flame out, and the question is, does Kenya Moore come back after this? Because they had to, Bravo had to sideline Kenya after everything. And Kenya wrote a tweet during the reunion where she was I take full accountability for everything I did. And I wholeheartedly apologize to Brittany and her family and friends and the viewers. And I look forward to seeing you all on Bravo again soon. It was I think Kenya realized there's an opening for me and I have to stop. I have to play ball right now. And
still sorry. But then, also Kenya's been doing her YouTube, stuff. Kenya's also been doing other stuff. And there's rumors, the streets are telling us that Kenya was the one who took Brit to lunch and showed her the pictures. Now, who knows if that's true? But those are the online rumors, is that Kenya met up with her, showed her the pictures, and she's like, wait, those aren't even me.
Those aren't me.
So who knows if that's true, but that would be so funny of Kenya to do,
Just shamed a stranger instead.
I don't know that we need Kenya back necessarily, because everything was, I think bringing back all the old people doesn't necessarily help anything. That's why the show was tanking in the first place. Kenya was at the helm of that show as it tanked for the last 4 years. 3 or 4 years, the seasons have been terrible. So I don't know that we need Kenya to fix something that was broken when she was there. She helped break it. We need new people, but I don't know how. It's easier for me to just complain. I don't know what the real answers are, but I just figure there can't only be one Nene. There's only one Nene, but there can't only be one hilarious fucking lady out there who's not afraid and who's only doing his shit for Instagram likes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think Angela was a great find. everyone has connected with Angela. Everyone likes Angela. And what I like is that she's like kind of flawed too. And it's almost good when someone is like not like white hot popular, but just like solidly popular, because that way there won't be as much of a backlash, I think.
She's been a slow burn.
Yeah.
It's been like a slow burn. Like, really everyone's starting to realize, oh, she's super funny. She's super quick. She's fascinating to look at. I could stare at her nose all day. I don't care what it is.
The current cast is kind of like when they started putting like electric checkout machines and everybody had to start bagging their own groceries at the grocery store. There's no carriers. I need carriers. Remember when they used to carry your groceries to the car? There needs to be a carrier. Otherwise, what are we doing here? You know, Angela's really good. Angela's great. I think Kelly's fine. Like, she's okay. Shamia's not carrying. Like, no. Portia's fun, but she's not carrying. There's no carriers. There has to be like a couple of anchors here to carry this show.
Shamia just did like the number one cliche, which is turn on your best friend the very first season you're cast. Like that's just, for me, just so basic textbook. I don't care if it's actually justified. Like, it would have been more interesting to have simmering tension between them.
Yeah. Shamia's sort of giving me a little bit of like Anne Hathaway vibes, a little bit, you know, like she sort of gives that kind of drama club. Like she's gonna sing songs where she can, and she's gonna cry about her children. I mean, justifiably often.
It's what the children call pick me energy. She has intense pick me energy. Yes.
Yeah, I like Shamia, but maybe she's not quite peach holder status, you know?
Yeah.
But okay, so let's move on. So the conclusion is that Atlanta we're going to see what happens in this quagmire of the
just keep working on it.
She's awful.
Yeah. It's like I tell the Botox lady, just keep working at it. We'll try again in another few months.
Let's see what happens, you know? Let's see. We want to see some other housewives headlines, because you shamefully don't really watch Summer House. Which
I know.
How are we going to fix this?
I mean, could you give me like the elevator pitch about why a housewives girly like me should be watching Summer House?
Vapid people doing vapid things in a house for summer.
If that doesn't do it for you, nothing will, you know.
I mean, I started watching. Oh, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, it's not the same vibe at all as Housewives. I don't know that I would have stuck with it had we not been doing this. It's one of those that I was like, this is stupid. What a stupid fucking show. But then just watching it all the time doing this, I got really addicted to it.
Yeah.
I watched the children's show. Oh, Next Gen, the children's show.
Children's
show.
That's it.
You know, I need to stop hoping it's gonna be Gallery Girls, and then I think I'm gonna like it. Like,
it's pretty close, actually.
It's good though.
It's pretty close.
It's good.
It's pretty close.
Nobody complained about Oregon wine.
Oh, they will.
Red wines from Oregon.
That's because they don't know about Oregon yet. But when they find out. They don't know that place exists.
Talk it endlessly.
By the way, so Justinian and I were both in Norway at the same time on dueling trips, and I just got my hair cut this afternoon, and I told my barber, I was like, yeah, I just got back from Norway. She goes, oh yeah, Norway. Where's that again? I was like, it's in the north.
Surprisingly like, north. Awesome. Way more north than you think. I
was like, she could be on Next Gen New York City.
All right, Dustin. Well, we're going to move on with some non-Bravo stuff. So,
wait, tell everyone about your book.
We're going to get ready
before you go away. Tell everyone about your book and why they should buy it.
I'm an author. I've completely forgotten that I've written books. My God, this was very okay. So this is my book. This is the hardcover, and it came out as a soft cover, a paperback, which is a huge honor. Yes, and then I want.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'm really, really proud. This book is the very first shout of this book was on Watch What Crappens. You two shouted it out before it came out, so it means so much to me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, come on!
It's now been optioned. I just
that is badass. That's so cool. I remember when we first talked. I remember when you were first talking about this.
Thank you. So the book is really pretty, but don't be fooled. It's very erotic. It's about two soulmates who keep reincarnating as doomed lovers over 2,000 years. And it's got Real Housewives references in it. But it also has ancient Chinese courts where there are like, empresses who poison their guards, etc. So it's got a little bit of everything. It's got a little bit of everything, but yeah,
right
that's wonderful.
It's just
what a cool cover,
by the way. Month. Thank you. Add it to your Pride Month reading list, and yeah, in November my second book comes out, Lucky Seed, and that also has been optioned too, which is crazy.
Oh my god!
Are they related or they're two separate books?
They're two completely separate books. The second book is very Real Housewives. It's about a wealthy family in West LA who all the cousins compete over who gives birth to like the male heir, the baby boy that inherits everything. And that's just like, I just wanted to create like a crazy, like,
it's like a pre-succession succession.
Yes,
I love it.
It's totally Succession meets Crazy Rich Asians, and that's called Lucky Seed. So
love it. We'll kill it.
Fantastic.
Go find those books, everybody, and follow Justin on Instagram at Justinian Huang. Love you, buddy.
Thank you so much for coming on. You're great.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Bye.
We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, everybody. I love that guy. He's so good at this, too. He can sit here and talk all day. We just need to get him to watch more shows.
We need to get him to watch Summer House. Sometimes it's really hard to get people to cross out of Real Housewives into Summer House, especially because Summer House is so much of it is kind of like security cam footage, and it can be weird to just even watch that. But we'll get him. Well, now let's talk about the Summer House stuff. Now that he's gone, last week we talked obviously about Paige DeSorbo leaving, R.I.P. Very sad about that. But the latest news, maybe not surprisingly, but a little surprisingly, because I thought maybe she would get another shot. Lexi Wood, she's out.
Lexi Wood out of here. She's like, oh my God, like I was really like great. It wasn't the summer that I expected, but I'm glad I came out here and stood up for women everywhere. Okay. Okay, Lexi, you're overselling it a little bit, but bye. I did think she would get another shot as well.
Yeah, I thought so, especially with Paige leaving. I feel like they don't want to have too much of like a bloodbath over there, and they can still sit in like the post Jesse and Lexi breakup and mind that. But I think that Lexi is just not the brand. She is just too young. Like, she really should be like next gen New York City, to be honest.
Yes. And then did you see the Carl stuff? The Carl Radke? Somebody posted an Instagram story of him being like, oh, I love Summer House. It's been like really hard, but it's gotten soft, and it's time for me to go. I've got to go sell soft. And then he came out immediately later and denied that he ever posted that. And he told somebody who emailed him about it. He's like, oh, this is an absolute lie. Can you please report this post? Because Carl needs that funding for Soft. He's not going anywhere. He needs to come on the TV and beg people for his his 1.2 million GoFundMe account to make that business happen. So he's not going anywhere unless they make him.
Yeah, you know what? But the good news is that even if they do get rid of Carl Radke, he's got a good guy clause. Good guy clause.
Good guy clause. You can't get rid of a good guy.
Yeah, I don't know. They definitely need to like boost their female casting for Summer House, because Amanda and Sierra are just not going to be enough to anchor that show. I know Sierra's coming more into her own, but they're going to need support, and it's got to feel authentic too. Like, please don't bring back Danielle. Obviously Lindsay will be in and out, but we're going to need some big good choices for the Summer House casting people. And I know that they can do it because they found Hannah and Paige, and now they're like massively popular. So we just have to find the next Hannah and Paige, or just something, but like, yeah, time to call in the big guns.
Yeah, time to call in the big guns. So how are they going to do it? Are they going to find like actual people from the city who are friends who are working, or are they going to find like Love Island people? Because I feel like they're going to go more like Lexi. I think they're going to do a lot of Lexi casting. Yes.
The problem is that a lot of those Love Island USA people seem to live in like Texas, or like, remember like half the cast last year was like from Houston. I don't know. I don't see Love Island USA people necessarily being a culture match for the house either, because they're very much like in their Love Island USA bubble. And like one of the things that's been very interesting with Summer House as it's evolved over the years is that it does kind of represent this young group of people who are part of like the New York City media and tech scene to a certain degree. Like Kyle is kind of like tech bro adjacent, even though he's an entrepreneur. And you have like Hannah and Paige and all of them. They're kind of like, you know, they come from the world of betches. Like they sort of are, they're media savvy people. They're people who I imagine read, not Vulture, but the one, like they would have read Gawker if Gawker were still around. I forget what the one, like The Cut, they might read The Cut. I don't know. I don't see anyone from Love Island USA being that type of person.
I think one of the things that made that show so funny was that it was people who looked up to the Hamptons as the ideal. It was like that kind of New Yorker who's like, oh my God, we're in the Hamptons and we're amazing. And I just dumped a girl with a private plane. So yeah, like their whole lives were like based on being cool enough and rich enough to be in the Hamptons. Whereas I feel a lot of the people that they brought on in the last few years, like whatever, the Hamptons is gross. It's far away. I'm just doing it for TV. You know, they don't, it's not that specific kind of New York douchebag who really craves the Hamptons lifestyle. Yeah. That's a very specific person. And I think they're out there, but the show being on for 10 years, most people are too smart to do it. They know they know that doing it will make them the opposite of what they're trying to be, you know?
Yeah. So Temmie and Lauren in the comments both said, "Were you thinking of Jezebel?" I wasn't thinking of Jezebel, but that's exactly right comparison, which is that like people who I don't see anyone from Love Island be ever interested in reading things like that. No one from Love Island knows how to read. That's the first problem. Ponies, anyone? That is from
CSBS.
CSBS in the comments. That is correct. Other people are suggesting nylon or paper, bust. 100%. All these things, like no one from Love Island USA is reading these at all.
Yeah. All right. It is time to turn it over to you, the audience, to come up here and talk with us on Vidya. This will be airing on YouTube, but it won't be in the audio portion. So everybody, for the audio, we sure love you. Come talk to us every other Monday, 5:30 Pacific time, YouTube, Patreon, all that good stuff. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King.
Our way is the Amber way.
It's the Foster and the Furious. It's Amanda Foster.
She can run my country. It's Angie McGovern.
It's Always Automatic with Ashley Otto. Put your hands together for Carly Clapp.
Get on the right foot with Chrissy Offit. We never miss her call. It's Diane Call.
Aaron McNicholas. She don't miss no trickolas.
Hava Nagila Weber.
You'll never hide from Heidi Eleanor Jones.
I go, you go, we all go for Hugo.
Jamie. She has no last namey.
She's our kind of mess. It's Jennifer Messer.
Sipped some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
She's our favorite streamer, Caroline Peacock.
She gets an A. It's Kelly B.
Kristen the Piston Anderson.
Get a bee in your bonnet with Lacey B. K. Sarah, whatever will be, will Lauren Silsby.
Rigging the funk, it's Leslie Plunkett.
She gets an A from us. It's Lindsay D.
Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino.
Fresh as a daisy, it's Maisie McHenry. We love her on the rocks. It's Melissa Cox.
Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg.
This is Livin' with Michelle Vivian.
I love ya, Olivia Williamson. Tastier than Flanderson, it's Rachel Manderson.
She sure is swell, it's Raquel.
Yes, we canna, it's Savannah.
Cast a spell with Shannon Spellman.
Let's share with Sharon Eldridge.
The Bay Area Betches.
And our super premium sponsors.
She's VVIP, it's Amanda V. Can't lose when you're with Amy Baldwin.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Let's go into the woods with Guy Tubbs.
Who, what, why, where, and Gwen Pentland.
It's our queen, it's Queen Laifa.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall. Hail the Cork Master, the Master of the Cork, Jennifer Corcoran. We got our wish, it's Jen Plish.
She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch.
She's a little bit loony, Junie.
Knock, knock, knocking on Katie Manock's door.
My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo. We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley. In the study with a candlestick, it's Leslie Peacock. We're Ride or Die for Lisa Ryder Barron. She's a whiz, it's Liz Sarthy. Always killing it, it's Lola Alkalani.
The incredible edible Matthews sisters.
She eases our woes, it's Melissa St. Rose.
We're on the floor with Molly Dorset. There's a chance of meatballs, it's Rebecca Cloud.
She's the queen bee, it's Sarah Lemke.
We cannot tell a lie, it's Sarah Tellefson.
Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Come on, shake your body, baby, do the Sydney Congdon. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
It's always a good time when you're wasting time with Bravo.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.